they ask you an individual question, just go ahead and answer. If they ask the group, let me call on you so that the transcriptionists know who's talking. And what I'll try to do is probably I'll say, like, Chelsea, then Olivia. So you kind of know what order you're in. But if they ask the whole group, just plan on all three of you answering.
Gotcha.
Okay, we'll get started. Our usual protocol, if you have a question, raise your hand. We'll get you a microphone. Those on the Zoom call, there is a raise your hand button somewhere on your screen. If you have a question, press that and we'll get to you as we can. So let's go ahead.
It's Cameron with the Courier Journal. For you, Chelsea, just that was your first NCAA tournament game. Just what was that like, and how are the nerves going into that game?
Yeah. Can you guys hear me? Okay. I was really excited. Really grateful to be here with this group. It was a fun atmosphere, fun playing in front of our fans. So I really enjoyed it. And the nerves, they were kicking in a little bit before the game, but good nerves. So yeah, I was just really excited. And I'm excited to play for tomorrow too.
For all three of you, but I'll start with you, Chelsea. Just it seemed like that second quarter they cut it to 5, and your guys' pressure really threw them off. And you guys press a lot. You like to speed teams up. How much does that help you guys, not only defensively, but help you guys get into a rhythm on offense, you think?
Yeah, I think a lot. We like to feed our offense from our defense, so I think the press kind of helped us get a kickstart in our offense, and just pushing in transition. We like to thrive on our transition, so I think that helped as well.
Liv?
Just going off what Chelsea said, the intensity of our press just helps us get into that mode, so we just keep that mode on and just keep going forward.
Yeah, I think our defense just brings a different energy to our team. You know, it just a lot of momentum, and we just, like O said, we go with it. And Coach Walls likes our trapping, pressing, get after it, so whatever he says, we do. Yep.
Olivia, as the post on the back end of that press, what's that like? What kind of, what's your responsibility there, and then what's it like when you see all the guards kind of just wreaking havoc in front of you?
I guess my role in the back of the press is just seeing everything, just letting them know. And I guess I'm good at it because I get to talk a lot, so my guards can know what's going on and stuff like that. So yeah.
For all three of you, I know it's still early in the tournament, but comparing and contrasting last year's experience for O and Koss, who were there, I guess, to this year's experience and what it's like.
Chelsea, then Olivia. Chelsea? Just
I feel like the chemistry is way better. Everybody just want everybody to eat, even though somebody's not having their game. The team, our teammates, just pushing each other to just get better, because we're trying to get to the next level. So, yeah.
What about playing at home and not being stuck in San Antonio?
Oh, it's wonderful. I swear, it's great to have fans and stuff like that. It's awesome.
Yeah, huge blessing, get to play in front of our crowd. We have best fans in the country. We say that every game, but no, I think it's just a huge thing that we get to do, and it's a special moment for all of my teammates and me that we get to play here and continue to build and grow and get to national championship.
For the three of you, no team in this program's history has gone the regular season and the postseason undefeated at home. A win on Sunday, they would do that for you guys. What would that mean to you to be able to do that and finish off a full season without a loss at the Yum Center?
Casa, then Olivia.
I think it would just speak a lot of words, not only to my teammates, but to the coaching staff as well. We put a lot of pride and energy and effort into making sure that we are prepared for each game and every situation. So I think it would just speak a lot of words to the team and our coaches.
Yeah, going off what Casa said, I just feel like the volume is set for us. We work hard every day in practice. We compete, we make each other better. So I just feel like that's a step towards.
Go ahead, Chelsea.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, going off what they said, yeah, we've all put in a lot of work, a lot of hard work, even us, coaches, the staff. I mean, we just want to do it for our fans. We want to do it for each other, and I think it would be really important.
For all three players, any impressions of Gonzaga at this point, or have you had a chance to look at what they're all about yet?
Chelsea?
Yeah, they're a great team. They can really shoot the ball well. They have a bunch of presence. They have presence in the post, presence in the guard spot. One of my former teammates is actually Sierra Walker, so it'll be fun playing against her. So excited.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just like what Chelsea said, they're a great team, and we're just super excited to play them.
Yeah, going off what both of my teammates said, we're just going to follow the scout and see what they bring.
Going off of that, they really pride themselves on defense. They held Nebraska to their second lowest scoring output of the season. How do you attack a defensive team like that, a defensive-minded team like that, and try and get a win if they're going to slow the game down?
Olivia? And Cuss. Go ahead, Cuss.
Yeah, I think just for us, we just have to do what we have to do. We put a lot of time, a lot of effort into practices. We just have to execute. We play games against our scout guys, first 1 to 10 wins. So I think just executing and following our game plan and trusting each other, and we'll be fine.
Yeah, going off what Casa said, I just feel like our practice players, like, they put in a lot of effort to, like be like the other team. So I feel like that help us a lot, and they get us prepared for who we're playing against.
Yeah, I think going off what they said, just playing our role, and everyone has their job to do. So just bringing the hard work, the intensity that we always do, and just playing within ourselves, I think will help us.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Chelsea, I'm curious. You guys played Uno in that.
Sorry, what'd you say?
You guys played Uno in that hype video.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you know I won. You know I bust out 3 plus 4. I already know.
Exactly. I meant to ask you that the other day and forgot.
They were asking us if the volleyball at the Final Four, but which song they karaoke to.
You gotta make it fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Coach, you can go ahead with Saban.
Yeah, no, just want to thank everyone again for coming out today. Looking forward to the opportunity to compete tomorrow night against a very, very talented Gonzaga team. I was very impressed with watching them play last night. Just a really talented team. You've got close to 5 players in double figures. You've got to guard the three-point line. You've got to be able to guard in the post. Lisa's done a really good job with them. I mean, you watch film on them, and we have a ton of respect. So we'll get to work today. We showed some clips last night to our kids. We'll show some more today, and then just get ready for what should be a very, very good college basketball game tomorrow.
Great, thank you. Questions from the floor?
Jeff, you mentioned Gonzaga has 5 players in double digits, very balanced, similar to you guys. How do you go about scouting or going at a team like Gonzaga that has that balance offensively?
Well, we're still working on that. That's one of the things that we're still trying to break down some film and figure out what is the best way to try to stop them, what's the best way to try to attack them. So the good thing about it is we've got a few more hours. We've got a little extra time with the 7 p.m. tip tomorrow to really be able to dive in and try and figure out what we're going to do, because they are a very balanced team. They've got 3 or 4 kids that can really shoot the three. They've got great post play. So I mean, they're a very balanced team. They're 27-6 for a reason in playing in the second round. Like I've said it all year. I mean, once you get to this point, everybody playing has probably been in the top 25 at one point in time during the year. They've received votes. You're down to about the final 10%, I think, if my math's correct, with 32. Nick, that's right, isn't it? That's my NKU degree, people. Proud of it. Thank you.
Gary.
Jeff, you've done this for a long time now, this NCAA tournament stuff. How has your approach evolved? Have major things changed about how you handle each round as you go? What have you learned that maybe over the years have changed?
You know what? We have not changed one bit. I mean, we're approaching this game tomorrow night like it's the national championship game, because if you don't win, you're done. So there is no, okay, save something for the next round. We are breaking film down. We're going to break personnel down. We're going to break, what they like to do offensively, what they're going to try to do defensively, and then we're going to put a plan in place. I've said it throughout my career. If we lose a game, I just want to be able to say we missed shots. That's part of it. If we miss shots, but we defend well, we rebound well, we execute, but the ball just does not go in the basket, well, it's going to happen. But I don't want it to be because we had a bad scout report. We left a three-point shooter open who we knew could shoot threes. We let a post player drive left who we knew that's what she wanted to do. Our goal is to try and make players go to their second or third move if they're going to beat us.
Does it happen sometimes, and especially these quick turnaround games where you might see something at 11 o'clock the night before that plays into the next game or anything like that, especially, second round, Elite Eight, where you don't have a lot of time to prep? How far does that run?
Oh, for sure. I mean, we had an opportunity to see a few things in yesterday's game that I hadn't seen before, that I was really impressed with some adjustments that Gonzaga made. So, and then that's my job. Once we start at 7 tomorrow night, when they start to make some adjustments and we start to make some, that's when it becomes fun. That's when the chess match begins. Where we try to make an adjustment, we try to surprise them with something, they're going to try to surprise us, and it's who's going to handle it. I mean, who's going to handle, when someone comes out with a zone when you're expecting a man, and that's what we talk to our players about all the time is, when the game gets into what we call the gray area, where it's not black or white, and now it's gray area. Are you switching the ball screen? Are you going to hedge it? And whoever handles those situations the best is the team that's going to win tomorrow night.
Jeff, Haley just seems to have such a short memory when she's missing shots. I mean, you mentioned struggling earlier in the year, but even she struggled in warm-ups yesterday and then struggled in the first quarter and then just seems to turn it on in that second quarter. What allows her to just put that behind her so quickly and just act like nothing happened, you think?
Well, I've been trying to teach them my philosophy on shooting. Back in the days, I tell them when it's warm-ups and you're not shooting it well in warm-ups, that's a good sign because you're getting all your misses out. So now when the game starts up, it's your time. And then when you're making them all in warm-ups, it's your time because you're hot. I'm trying to teach them exactly that's what a shooter has to believe. And I thought even in yesterday's game, I think she ended up 8 for 15 from the field, and she missed, I think, 2 layups. So she easily could have been 10 for 15 from the field. So it's who she is. You put the work in, and she's put the work in. Kiana's the same way. Kiana's put the work in. So if they miss a few, as long as they're taking good shots with their feet balanced, I feel good about it. And we've been passing the ball well, getting opportunities to get players shots in areas that they score the ball. And Haley especially has been playing really well the past 2 months.
Coach, Haley's obviously a great player, but she's also pretty famous now off the court. And how has she handled that fame in the context of playing basketball at the same time?
No, she's really a humble kid. It's really refreshing to see how she's handled all of it. She never really talks about it. I joke with her all the time. She's got all these followers in social media, and she'll never ask them to follow me. I'm like, I'm trying to up my game too, and she won't help me. But it's just it's really pretty amazing. I mean, you look at her Instagram, and I think she's got 700-something thousand followers, and she's posted 41 times. It's not like she's out here posting every 5 minutes. And she's just a hard worker. I mean, nothing's really fazed her. Everything that's come across with the NIL things, I don't really hear about them. She's got a team that kind of takes care of all that, and it's remarkable. I mean, she's fun to coach. She's got her head on straight. She's got a great family, and it's the way you're brought up, And I think her parents have done a remarkable job of making sure she stays grounded. She stays humble. It's a hard-working family, and it's not hard to tell. And there's a lot of kids on our team that we have good kids, and it's fun to watch because you know what they're getting at home. Thank you.
Coach, just early scouting Gonzaga, they're a team that likes to, slow the game down and really lock in defensively. What have you noticed that they do well defensively on that side of the ball?
Well, they do a really nice job of staying between the ball and the basket. As a team, I mean, you might say they try to slow the game down, but they're averaging close to 70 points a game, which is pretty impressive. So I don't necessarily think that they're trying to just slow it down. They just take opportunities when they present themselves. If you let them run, they're going to run. I mean, I watched the conference finals. They got 4 or 5 breakaways to their post players for some layups. You can't get relaxed after you take a shot because if you don't sprint the floor, they're going to push it. So it's just going to be a great game. I mean, I'm really looking for a great college basketball game tomorrow night between 2 really good teams.
Jeff, if you guys do play well and win on Sunday, you'd be the first team in program history to not lose a game at home, both regular season and postseason. What would yeah, exactly.
Golly, you're a jinx.
That's why I said if. I said if.
Who invited him?
Just what would that mean if that happens for you guys in the program?
I mean, it's special, but at the same time, I promise you, we've never even talked about it. For us, it's one game at a time. And I know that's an old coach cliche. We take it one game at a time, but you can't get ahead of yourself. I mean, you just look at our women's tournament, the men's tournaments, the upsets that have happened. You just can't. It's not a best of 7. It's one game, and anything can happen. That's why it's March Madness. Now that we're allowed to use that, it's pretty awesome. It's what it is. So I promise you, we haven't even talked about being undefeated at home. We know right now, tomorrow night at 7, it's 0-0. We're 0-0. We have to figure out a way to win a game to advance.
Coach, Gonzaga is a very strong rebounding team. Obviously, Emily has been a force in the on the boards for you guys. And talk about that matchup a little bit and what Emily has meant to the program this year.
Well, Emily's been a big lift for us. There's no question about it, and it was pretty neat the way it all took place. Was, when she went into the portal, we got a phone call that she'd be interested in coming here, and I talked to my team about it. The first person I talked to was Mikasa, because that's whose minutes she was going to impact the most. And the first thing out of Mikasa's mouth was, "I'm tired of guarding her," because she had to guard her for 3 years at Syracuse. She's like, "I'd prefer to be on our team," and our kids like to win, and I think that's what speaks volumes about not only Mikasa but our program, because we bring in Chelsea and Emily, both go into the starting lineup. Now, I never promised either of them to start, but they just worked their way into it. And our kids never batted an eye. It was like, hey, this is fine, because we like to win. So she's brought a lot to this program, and the fact of how hard she plays. She competes, she rebounds, she'll defend. I just saw where it's her and Brianna Stewart are the only players in NCAA tournament history who have had 7 steals in multiple blocks. I mean, that's pretty good company there. So she causes a lot of chaos at times for us. And then her willingness to throw her body all over the floor, especially rebounding wise, is what separates her. It's not like she boxes out on every play, but what she does is she pursues the ball. And I tell them, if you pursue the ball, that's fine. But if you're not going to, then you have to box out. So it's going to be important for her to really be dialed in for us. And Gonzaga does a great job of rebounding. And the thing about it, when you look at their stats, they're leading rebounders at 6.3. But then all of their guards rebound the ball as well. And I think that's what separates them, is their guards are willing to get in there and mix it up also. And that's the challenge that we put in front of our kids, that we need everybody to buy in, to putting the body on somebody. We have to keep them off the offensive glass. And then we've got to give multiple efforts to try to get some offensive rebounds ourselves.
Jeff, you talked about the gray area a little bit. Sometimes you just have to have your players playing their best or playing really well. And you've got some players of a caliber that if they're playing their best, they can cover a lot of stuff. You could do a lot of things. How close do you think you are to that? Emily's playing really well. Haley's getting it. Kiana's, you can go down the list. But, are you getting close to that where you think you've got a little bit of upside, a lot of upside still?
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, we are playing some pretty good basketball right now. We're a team. I mean, you go back to the Miami game in the ACT tournament. That's my fault. You look at the 35 minutes that we played up till that point. I thought we played really well. I thought the kids followed a game plan, did exactly what we wanted to do. Our goal against Miami was to not put him at the free throw line. It's a Miami team that rebounded the ball extremely well. They get to the free throw line close to 18 to 20 times. They only shot five free throws against us. We out rebound them. It was the first time all year that we had out rebounded somebody and then shot more free throws and had not won. So I think we're playing some good basketball. What we've got to be able to continue to do is, if there's a 2 or 3 minute lull at the offensive end, we've got to defend. We can't get emotional about not scoring the basketball and give up easy scoring opportunities. And I thought we did a good job of that yesterday. When I looked at the stat sheet, I think at the end of the first quarter, from what I think I can remember, is Albany's last field goal was with 7 minutes to go in the first quarter. But the problem is we didn't score the last 3.5 either. But because we defended, you're still able to go in to the end of the quarter with a nice lead. And that's what we're going to have tomorrow night, because Gonzaga, they defend well, they execute their stuff offensively, And I'm expecting a just a dogfight tomorrow night. It's going to be physical. It's going to be a really, really good basketball game.
Jeff,
Okay.
got one more.
I'm sorry, we have to cut it off.
Cut it off.
Time limit.
Huh? What's the
Yeah,
problem?
yeah, we
Time
have
limits.
time
These time limits. I'm telling you.
Sorry, Coach.
Are we waiting for somebody else to come in?
Yes, next team.
Oh, they're practicing still. Cam, what's your
Thank you.
question? I'll answer as I'm walking out.
Well, the press, how important is Olivia and Liz? You don't really see them often, but they're in the back kind of directing everything. How important are they?
They're really important for us tomorrow night. They were important last night too, protecting the basket. They're going to have to be head on a swivel, seeing exactly what's coming from both sides of the floor. Very important. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Coach. Hopefully I got the right sister today, because I messed it up yesterday.
You do.
I messed it up.
Yeah, it's all good.
Now, before we get started, I'll tell you, if they call on any of you individually, just go ahead and answer the question. If they call in as a group, let me call on you individually, so that we get the transcribers to get the right people. And usually what I'll do is I'll, say one of you, then the next one. So you like Anna Maria?
Yeah.
Anna? Okay. Anna, Lynn?
Yes.
Lynn? Yvonne. Okay. You have the whole Yvonne. Okay. Okay, we got just a second.
No question? Thank you. I'm doing this for Grace. Me too, Grace. Me too.
I don't even want to put that down on the floor. Thank you. Okay, we shall go ahead and start. Any questions from the floor for the players?
Well, what's the feeling after a big win yesterday, and how do you move on emotionally from that to a somewhat bigger challenge?
Yvonne, then Lynn?
I feel like a lot of smiles after our win last year. Just knowing that we're one step closer to our goal, I feel like that really pumps up our team and gives us a lot of energy. And then taking that energy into this next game, tough opponent, but we want to be as excited more than nervous for like what's coming up for us during this tournament, and just really bringing that like energy into like our game offensively and defensively.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off of that, we're just having fun. We're very lucky to be here, and not most teams can say that they're still dancing now. So.
Go ahead.
I mean, we are really excited. It was a good game last night, and we're hoping to have a great game tomorrow. So yeah, we're happy.
Obviously, with Louisville being the 1 seed, you guys will come in as underdogs, even more so with this being their home arena. Are you guys like leaning into this, where it's going to be a pretty slanted crowd towards their side tomorrow?
Anna, then Lynn?
We played with a lot of crowd in the gyms. We know how it feels like. Of course, they're number one. We know they're gonna come out and play like the number one, but we're gonna come out playing too. Like, doesn't matter. It can be our last game, so we're gonna put everything on the floor.
Our home games and our away games in our conferences prepped us, especially at BYU. We played against their home crowd, and so this coming into this game, it's nothing new for us.
Yeah, kind of just what Lenny said. I feel like the BYU game definitely had like a really swarming crowd when we were playing there, and I feel like that was kind of like enough prep for us just coming into like this Louisville game. But I feel like that atmosphere is just going to make it a lot more exciting for us, and taking that perspective and really putting that into our game tomorrow.
Obviously, you guys have thrived in the paint, on the boards, and you're probably going to have to do that again tomorrow. What does that matchup look like right now for you guys against another team that rebounds well?
Yvonne, then Lynn?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a big matchup. I feel like they're super aggressive, both inside the paint and outside. But I feel like we just have to take that on and kind of like experience that, get a good grip of it throughout the game. I feel like practices and other teams that we've played in our conference have prepared us for stuff like that. So really just taking in like the physicality and the aggressiveness that's going to come to us tomorrow. And, just getting through it one by one, helping each other out through it. So just doing that throughout the game.
Yeah, we're just going to continue sticking together, going with the game plan, make sure we take care of the ball. I mean, we saw yesterday in their game, they were pressing, speeding up the other team. So we got to take care of the ball and, again, stick to the game plan, stick together, and play together.
Their coach had already noted how much you guys all rebound, not just the post players, not just the forwards, but guards too. And how much is that team effort a part of your game, especially for you, Kaylin?
Go ahead.
Yeah, rebounding is Rebounding's a very big, big thing for our team at least. And then, I mean, I'm mostly safety, so I have to do that job well because if we don't get the rebound, we got to have someone back. And then if I'm in the hound position, I got to make sure I get to the free throw line and just everything's important, especially like just crashing, but then also having a safety. And if we do that all together, that's what makes our team so great on the boards.
Yeah, I mean, like we know we are a great rebounding team, and not just like the post players. We're gonna like get a tip on the ball, and I know my guards are gonna be there to get the rebound if I can get it. So I think we're doing a really good job, all 5 of us, going to get the ball.
Yeah, what they said.
This question's for Lynn and also for you, Yvonne, a little bit. Louisville has talent all over the floor, but Haley Van Lith is kind of a star for them out there on the perimeter. What's maybe the key to keeping her in check?
You know, as great of a player she is, we don't really shut down a player. We just can limit her, and so to limit her, we just got to make her other teammates do what they can't. Just bouncing off of BYU, that's what we did. We tried to limit Paisley and Shaylee and make their teammates do what's out of the ordinary and what's out of their comfort zone. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I feel like also just leaning towards a lot of team defense against her and all their other players. Like, Haley's a really good player, and we can't just leave one person to do that job by themselves because she is, like, a really capable player. So really, like, using the 5 players on the court to help limit her and then also contain, like, the other, like, really good, talented players on the floor as well.
Okay. Other questions? Okay, we have a Zoom question from Ronald Smith.
Hello, this is Ronald E. Smith. My question is for all 3 of the athletes. As the rounds get more, the pressure amplifies, and sometimes you can overthink. So I would love to know from all 3, how do you not allow the moment to get so big? What keeps you focused and grounded?
Yvonne and Lynn?
Yeah, really good question. I feel like one thing that I like to do is just lean on my teammates. That's just something that keeps me in the moment, keeps me going, just knowing that I have them. Because at least if anything, we're kind of all sharing the pressure together, really. So just making sure that we're having each other's backs. I'm having my teammates' backs. They're having my backs. And just knowing that in the back of my head, I feel like soothes me a little bit more when it comes to like being too flustered or out of control or fast-paced during the game. I feel like that's something that I just think about.
Yeah, I mean, Vaughn said it all. Just leaning on my teammates. I know when I step on the court, I don't have to do it myself, and I hope my teammates know that they don't have to do it themselves, and we have each other's back. Stick together.
Yeah, I'm just gonna take it one play at a time. Of course, I start in the game. I will make sure that I start with a lot of energy. Make sure that my teammates can like feel the energy, and yeah, just like get a quick rebound, get a stop. Just take it one play at a time.
Thank you.
Lynn, kind of an overarching storyline here of these first round games is a controversy of you showing up in Lee's jersey and trying to convince Lisa that you were the same player. We asked Lee about it, and she put all the blame on you. Care to comment?
You know, I'm gonna blame her because she used my loop, and so it ended up in my locker. But you know, it's okay. We have fun over here, so I can take the blame, I guess.
Something about a loop too.
Huh? What happened?
She said that something about a loop and an issue, and then she wore the jersey. She saw it was my jersey, and she wore it anyway.
Well, it's funny because for practice, I put my jersey on as a cape, so I didn't really look at the jersey that I put on. And so when we went to go do 5-on-5, I took off the cape and then looked at the jersey, and it was hers. And I was like, oh wow, okay. I don't know.
Okay, we have a Zoom question from Travis Green.
Hey guys, first off, congrats on the win yesterday. But my main question, I know you talked about the atmosphere a little bit out there in Louisville with them hosting, but I just want to know from your perspective, what is it like to now be prepping for a 1 seed, and how daunting is that task to play a 1 seed here in the NCAA tournament?
Anna and Lynn?
It's really exciting. It's always exciting to play a great team, a great program. It's just gonna be exciting to have a lot of people in the gym. We're gonna play our game, and we have nothing to lose, so we're gonna put it all on the court. Yeah.
Again, very pumped and excited. Not a lot of people get to say that they play a number 1 seed, so I think most people just forget. We're very lucky to be here, and we should just have fun because that's what basketball is about. We should have fun and, again, play together, play with your friends. That's what we're here for.
I think one thing I think about when just seeing Louisville as 1 seed and obviously Nebraska as our 8 seed, I feel like all the teams coming into the NCAA are just really good teams. So this is just a different really good team that we've got to prep for. We got to do, different things for because they have different strengths and weaknesses as well. So I feel like that's just something we have to keep in mind. Just knowing that we're always going to play good teams one game after another here. So we just got to come up with our best.
Thank you. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
For Ana Maria, I think you've put up more 12, 15-foot shots in the last month than I think in the previous 3 years. But talk about your confidence taking those long shots now.
I can talk about San Francisco game. I think I took 10 shots that game, and 6 of them were mid ranges. If one is going in, I'm gonna take the second one. If the second one is going in, I'm gonna take the third one. Sometimes just having confidence. And yeah, I think I took yesterday one and went in, and that's my shot, so I'm gonna take it again.
Okay, any other questions for the student athletes? Okay, ladies, thank you.
Thank you.
You can start with a statement when you're ready.
About Louisville, or just in general being
Whatever
here?
you
Okay.
want to talk about.
All right. What do I want to talk about? We're excited. I told you guys last night our team did a good job. Now we've seen some film of Louisville, and I really hadn't watched very much. Our paths hadn't crossed this year. I'd seen them a little bit, but not a ton. And very good defensive team. They're problematic on offense. Primarily, if you turn the ball over, I think that's the number one thing you have to do. If you take care of the ball, then they're like everyone else. It's really hard to stop people from making layups after you turn over with live ball situations, and they're so aggressive that they spend a lot of time just doing that. I like some things we can do in the half court if we can handle the pressure with poise, and then part of it is handling the pressure and taking care of the ball, and then part of it is what you do after that. And a lot of teams that are aggressive defensively force you into questionable offense. I think they have maybe the three that you would separate offensively, but then the rest of their support players do a really nice job of filling their role and being ready when called upon. They've played good opponents who've tried to do all the things. They've tried to help off you here. They've tried to double you here. And so, like one of these guys said, we're just going to have to do it better. Bonnie, I think, said they're the next good opponent that we have in front of us. And so I hope our team can figure out how to execute and find some things that we'll be successful with and carry on.
Okay, thank you. Questions?
So what's the attitude, just emotionally, on the team that you can glean so far?
I think they feel excited. I think they feel loose. Lynn and Lee I think, create that for us. They're pretty goofy, and we don't have a lot of uptight people when it comes to life. You know, I think they're a pretty laid back group when it comes to school, and you know, they're modern teenagers, or 18 to 22-year-olds, so they are trying to be really good at things, but they kind of handle themselves in a way that's fun and lighthearted, and they're joking, and Craig's jumping out behind trying to scare Lynn at the elevator, and I think we have a nice we feel okay. Practice was good. There were times of practice where we tried to stretch him, and I think that it gets a little tense, but I think they seem excited and confident that if we can do some stuff, we can do some stuff, and if we can't, we can't. And so I think they're excited to go into tomorrow and try to do the things we're trying to do well.
Coach Cameron with the Courier-Journal. I just walked in, so I apologize if you've been asked this, but Louisville has a lot of different ways they like to pressure teams, and you guys seem to handle Nebraska pretty well. You didn't seem too rushed at all. How do you go about game planning for Louisville's pressure when they'll half-court trap you, full-court press you, do something different every other possession?
Yeah, it's tricky because you have one day to prepare for all of that stuff. I know that Louisville's different than San Diego and Stephen F. Austin and Portland, but those are three teams we've played 5 games worth where we were just pressured the heck out of. That they press you for 40 minutes also, and I'm thankful that we've seen some different types of pressure defenses, because you can't prepare for everything in one day where you're not trying to overdo it. But really, we have a couple of things in the package that I think will be helpful, and we got to identify which one it is and what we're going to do against it. The half-court trap at the top is going to have a different feeling than when we're in the full court trying to break that initial trap or whatever it might be. So we have pretty veteran guards between the Trongs and Abby and Sierra specifically. We got Mel, who's a very veteran player. Anna's a 5th-year kid as well. Vonnie's handles it a lot. So I think personnel-wise, we're equipped to handle it as long as we maintain composure. And we spend a lot of time talking about real-time reading the defense. Where's the help coming from? Where's the double coming from? You have to, not just see it, but actually see it and tell where we need to attack it. Easier said than done, which I also told them, so that I know it's hard.
Coach, you mentioned that you could tell that the players, it meant so much to them to win yesterday after what happened last year. Do you think that them officially being able to close the book on that and put that in the rear view will help them approach this game tomorrow?
Hopefully. We really try not to, I try as a coach to get them to not dwell on the past. But they do what they do, And so I hope that is done now, and that we can have that fine balance of playing loose while also executing and not being casual. And that will be important for tomorrow. And I do think that certainly that is pushed out of their mind now. We got a new game tomorrow, and it's going to have challenges of its own. But I think that we're probably done with that other team, Belmont, now.
Any other questions from the floor? Jim?
Going way back to the past, for you as a coach, you were an assistant then, but how big does that win over Louisville in 2011 rank for you?
That was fun. So that was the win to put us into the Elite Eight. Yeah, it was Sweet 16 in Spokane, and we made some big defensive plays. I was coaching defense at the time, and so that was, I think I was pretty young assistant coach, but they're very different now, and all those things. That's the only experience I think we have with Louisville, right? Is that the only time we've played them in modern, times? And it was a big-time game, and haven't thought about it much. I mostly think about how my kids ask me all the time, who'd we lose to in the Elite Eight? Who'd we lose to in the Elite Eight? So they don't ever ask, how do we get to the Elite Eight? They just say, who'd we lose to? And that was Stanford. But, it was fun to play them. Hopefully it'll be fun to play them here again tomorrow. And I know it was a great environment. That's something that I remember about it. Our team played well, which we needed to. We were a lower-seeded team at that time as well. They weren't a 1, but they were like a 2 or 3, I think, or something like that. So our team needed to play well against the good team, and that's the same thing. That's the main similarity. Me and Jeff were both there, too. But, yeah.
I was wondering if maybe you could compare the two environments from last year's tournament and their own struggles. Last year, of course, being in front of little to no fans, and then this year being in front of literally a home audience for Louisville.
Well, I mean, it's way better. I'd rather be in front of a home audience for Louisville than in front of nobody but our parents last year, and we love our parents, but they're all here this time too. So it's just they're kind of like not comparing apples to apples. You know, it just feels very different. And I know the crowd's not going to be pulling for us tomorrow, but that's more what we're used to. We're used to people being here. We're used to it being loud. Even at Gonzaga, when it's loud for us, it's still loud. And that's an environment that we enjoy playing in front of and we're accustomed to. And I think in the NCAA tournament, that's what creates a student-athlete experience. And I think both programs are very fortunate that our student-athletes have a high-level experience because it's not like that. Our fans and probably the Louisville fans don't realize that it's not like this in other places. And so credit to them and their community for supporting their program. Credit to the Spokane community for supporting our program and creating the best environment for our student-athletes.
Okay, any other questions from the floor right now? Okay, we'll take a Zoom call from Matthew Walter.
Hey Coach, congrats on the win yesterday. Matthew Walter from the Next Hoops. I know I asked you yesterday about Melody's consistency. Can you talk a little bit about just her growth from being that star player off the bench the last 2 years to now sort of being, obviously you don't have, you say it's a we team, but just being the leader for you on the floor and how much playing as that person off the bench in the last 2 years has helped her be this great leader for you on the court this season?
Yeah, I think that when they have to go through that transition, it really helps. I mean, it's humbling a little bit because every player we have on our team was the best player on their high school team or one of the top two, and then you go into college and you're not the best player on the team. It's very rare. It happens sometimes, but not very often. And so I think it's humbling a little bit. I think it helps them to learn. I think it helps you become a better leader because you can speak from experience. And you're, in our program at least, you're able to learn from people who have done the same thing. And so they've also grown through that. And so Mel can relate to Yvonne, and she can relate to Eliza and Maut, and even, those are just the other bigs, right? But she can relate to the guards who are going through that same thing right now, and it's hard. It's hard to go from playing every minute on your high school team to playing not even every game sometimes as a freshman or sophomore or sometimes a junior. It just depends. And so I think that's a big part of her leadership that's helped us. And then also, again, I talked about it. I don't think it was your question, but maybe it was someone else's, where I talked about that ladder, that they kind of go through sometimes. And with the post players specifically, is we've been fortunate enough to have enough good ones to where they just are learning. They're getting their teeth kicked in oftentimes by the starters, just time after time after time, trying to stop them, trying to front them, trying to push them off the block, whatever they're trying to do. And it makes them better because they've been doing that. So Mel is a better player for having to have done that with Zykira and having to have done that with Jen Worth. And just the same as Vonnie is a better player for having to, she matches up with Mel almost every day. And I think that's a good thing for Mel, is that she's not only leaving a legacy behind her, but she's also crediting the legacy that was ahead of her. And she's just very aware of it. And, big part of the development that we do. We talk a lot about development in our program, and you can see it if you just watch them, a few clips from each year. They just keep getting better.
I was just wondering your impressions on Haley Van Lith and how much of her you got to see, if any, when she was growing up in Washington.
Oh, we got to see a lot of her. We tried hard. We tried to get her to Gonzaga. Jordan's a Kashmir guy. I know she says she's from Wenatchee, but she went to Kashmir High School. They came to camp every year. We spent a lot of time out there. And, I got to spend some time with her at USA Basketball. That was a fun experience because a lot of these players that we play against, I got to coach at some capacity, at least on the court with. And so we're pretty familiar with her. She's just continued to get better. Her work ethic is, among the best I've ever seen. And just her intensity out there and her desire to do the job. So she looks like we would expect her to look on the floor based on how she works and how she pushes herself. And I think she's improved her game and gotten stronger, just like we thought she would. And she's certainly a tough guard.
Okay. Other questions? Okay, we have a Zoom question from Ronald Smith.
This is Ronald E. Smith. Coach, you brought up before how you have a few players who are very loose and able to keep the team energized and not think too much about the stress of the game. But for you, when do you feel is a time for you as a coach to step in and help your players feel less stress, or when you allow the players to do it themselves?
That's a good question. I think that I look at my job a lot of the time as trying to balance whatever they have. So when they're too loose, then I kind of got to reel them in a little bit. Or if they're too tight, I usually say something silly in the locker room. I'm famous for messing up quotes and pulling stuff out that actually doesn't apply and confusing everybody and creating chaos, you know. And if I'm not doing it, then I have 3 kids running around and a husband running around to also create chaos for our team. So we're probably better at that loosen them up than reel them back in mode. But I think there's a balance. I don't know how to that it's necessarily defined by a certain number of players who are loose or a certain thing. You just kind of have a feeling for it. And I think at times like this, in the circumstances that we're in right now, I think today is a fine day to be loose. And tomorrow we don't want to be uptight, but we just have to make sure that we're balancing the looseness and the focus. And so I think I'm kind of reading them. And if they seem like they're about to burst, or if I touch them, they're gonna crack, then that's probably my sign that I need to bring some levity to the situation. And we also just try to balance what we're working on. Like we're right now in friendship as one of our leadership characteristics. We're about to switch to accountability, and so kind of keeping their mind on things that matter, but don't necessarily isn't bringing more focus than is necessary to the game. Because I think they're putting a lot of that there already. So I guess I don't know if that answers your question, but trying to read them well, be aware of how they're feeling and how they're behaving, and then fill in accordingly.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep.
Any other questions? Coach, thank you.
Thank you.